So, one of my favorite themes has always been the clumsiness of the Indian Foreign Service. When somebody treats you with respect, we treat them like dirt,
Yeah.
like we used to with Bangladesh, like we do with Nepal. We still do with Bangladesh to a certain extent. And when somebody treats you like dirt, we bend over backwards to accommodate them like China does.
Right.
Uh, so, and a simple example of this is the fact that after the Galwan episode, where 20 of our troops were killed, your foreign minister, who is from the foreign service himself, didn't even have the guts to say China. Right. So what happens here is that in Nepal, this has been building up for a long time. But remember, ultimately, the salvation lies with the Nepalese people themselves. The only people that have managed to deal with China very smartly have been the Burmese. They have no compunctions about kicking out the Chinese en masse when they decide to, stripping it of all its projects and kicking it out. And there's nothing China can realistically do. If you want to learn how to deal with China, the one country that has mastered it more than anybody, more than America, more than Russia, more than anybody else, it is Burma. Right? Now, with Nepal, I think it was their Prime Minister Koirala or somebody before him who said, we are surrounded by two dogs. The dog to the north doesn't bark, but it bites. The dog to the south keeps barking, but it never bites. Right? You combine this with what the former Mexican president Benito Juarez used to say, that Mexico's great tragedy is that it is so far from God and so close to the United States. It's like that. If you go to Nepal, they'll tell you Nepal's great tragedy is that it is so far from Shiva and so close to India. They think the Chinese come bearing gifts. They're very soon going to realize that this is going to be like the Trojan horse. They themselves will at some point, in spite of the clumsiness and stupidity of Indian diplomacy, they will at some point come begging to rescue them. Because to quote Jesus Christ, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they know not what they do. They are soon going to realize what they do, and they are going to come begging us to rescue them. I think we should just let them go through it. Instead of being diffident, we should let them go through it. Second part of this is, how did this all come to pass? Indian clumsiness is only one part of it. The second part of it is the traditional thing between the Madesis and the hills folk. People don't, everybody thinks of Nepal as being Himalayan. It isn't. It's got plains, it's got the Tarai region, and then it's got hills. And those two have always been sort of set up against each other. Then you have the status quo forces that are the Congress versus the communist, all the splinter communist parties and things like that. And even within the splinter communist parties, if you remember, in India also we had this, the CPI and the CPIM. One was pro-Soviet Union, one was pro-People's Republic of China. You have the same thing. So it's the pro-People's Republic of China faction trying to get China involved the same way a lot of Nepalese try to get India involved on their side. So it's quite, at one level, it was very natural that this was going to happen. But that said, we shouldn't underestimate our own clumsiness in this regard.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.